The truth of the matter is this.
Welcome.
I don't think a lot of the consuming public knows that, but that is the case.
goatforreal216.
It's just math. Just math.
The podcast.
He's a little bit savage.
You know what the pen click means?
No.
It means we're back.
That means we're back.
I mean, hold on. Yeah.
Oh, now we're back.
We're back.
Now we're back.
We're officially back now.
How are you, Shawn P?
I'm feeling a little out of my element right now.
Why?
I'm feeling a little, I guess, naked. I'm feeling a little like a fish out of water.
Why?
Look around.
You don't have a desk anymore.
I have no desk to hide my belly.
This was your choice.
I know. Well, okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, yes and no. I mean, you know, I'm not sure anything in my life is really my choice, but I appreciate you and all the other women in my life making me feel like I have choices.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Desiree.
It makes me feel, yeah, that's my ex-wife, and then my sister, and there's a new woman in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know about her?
I think I know about her, but go ahead and tell me.
Yeah, so there's a new woman in my life who, I mean, for some reason, mysteriously thinks she's a combination of a spouse / mother, and she is my, I guess you would say health. I mean, there's a better word for guru, but what's a better word for guru?
Health and guru, like.
There's another word.
Like.
She's like what's that person? The Dalai Lama? Is that? Yeah, he's still. I don't. But you get the point.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Her name's Angela. She owns a business called Recrea Health, right? Which here in Medina, where we live, and she is now on the list of women that terrify me. And she's helping me lose weight. By the way, all my TikTokers have mentioned I've lost 30 pounds.
Yeah.
So thank you, Angela, Mom, whatever we're going to call you.
You did good enough that I started doing it too.
Yeah, I know.
6 pounds already.
Isn't it great?
It's great.
So yeah. But anyways, so I have another boss now, but I feel, this is our new surroundings. What do you think?
I love it.
Of course you do, because it looks like a girl place.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
this does not look like a girl place.
I feel a little less manly.
That's sad.
That could have a lot to do with my childhood. It could have a lot to do with things happening.
That's a whole episode by itself.
I had one of those uncles. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
No, I didn't. I'm just kidding. So anyway, so beep bop boop. So welcome to episode 3 in our new surroundings. These are our new digs. This is how we get down now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It looks great. Nice job by you.
Thank you.
I do want to apologize for missing last week. We didn't have an episode last. I had a personal episode,
right?
Which
same.
We both had episodes.
We did,
which equaled us not having an episode.
It was just a huge train wreck of a mess last week.
It was a hot garbage fire. Dumpster fire ran over by a train.
Yep. And it exploded.
Correct. Yeah. All that stuff happened. So, anyways, forget about our personal lives. You don't care about that.
But we're back this week, and if I did put out that quick little episode 1 blooper episode last week. So, we're back. It's all good. Yeah.
So we are back, and I'm excited, and we're going to, as we evolve as podcasters, because technically, we call ourselves podcasters now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We have a whole season under our belt, and we upgraded the surroundings. Podcasters.
On God. No cap.
No cap.
Yeah. So, anyways, we're going to keep evolving, and this is a car-based podcast, because the reality of my situation in my life is I'm good at one thing. I know cars. Mm-hmm. I know how to make money on cars. I know how to make money in car dealerships. I know how to run a car dealership. I know how to do every aspect of the automotive industry from soup to nuts. However, that is the only thing that I'm good at.
You say this.
And it's the only thing I'm smart about. Mm-hmm. So this is always going to be a car-based podcast, because I want to continue to look smart. Mm-hmm. I like the feeling. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And so we're going to keep it car-based. But we are going to branch out on some other things. We're going to touch on some topics, some news.
Going to give it a little try.
We're gonna do that. And as I begin to look dumb to our viewers, you're going to save me.
Yep.
And then we'll have really smart guests that make me look smart.
Really smart guests.
And then you'll edit it when I look stupid.
Right, exactly.
I'm in.
That's what I'm here for.
Gang, gang. So, what do you want to talk about?
I feel like we should talk about some news. What's the news of the week,
There's only one
Shawn?
thing that's on my mind.
Yeah, what's that?
And that's because, and we may lose viewership right now, but that's okay. If we're not like-minded, then we don't need to be following each other anyways. I'm a Donald Trump supporter and a Donald Trump admirer. do I think he's the smartest person on the planet? I think he's like me. I think he's good at business. He's good at one thing, but put him in a room with a bunch of, beauty pageant people, he'll make some mistakes. Yeah, that guy will mess up. You put him in front of the wrong ethnicity, he'll say something stupid and offend some people. Put him in the L, however many letters come after that. You know what I'm saying? I
The
mean,
alphabet mafia, the LGBT community.
he'll mess that up too.
But
good businessman. Great politician, really, when he applies his business methods to it. He, arguably probably makes the most change the quickest than I've ever seen in politics. I mean, when he says he's going to get something done, whether he bullies the people or makes, whatever, but he usually gets stuff accomplished that he says he's going to do. Now, the mainstream media will tell you that he didn't, and they'll tell you how he messed it up, and that's all fine and dandy. But I do know a couple things. I know that our economy was in better shape when he was in charge. And again, there's probably stats to go either way, and that will say no. But I know that as I look around, and we're in Cleveland, which is not the most economically prosperous region of the country anyways, I know it looks different and people feel different than when he was in charge. And so that's why I'm a supporter of him. And again, I have no factual evidence to base that on. I'm going to be honest with you, again, because I'm not that smart. But I know how I felt when he was in charge. I felt like our country was strong. I felt like that he was not going to be swayed by people with money because he has more than them anyways. And I just like that. I like a guy in charge of the country who's not making decisions based on personal financial gain. Right or wrong. Even if he makes bad decisions, I still don't want him making decisions based on his own financial situation. You know what I mean? I want him making decisions based on what he thinks is right. Now, whether he is right or wrong is different. I mean, there's a lot of ways to go about it, right? The guy's, look, he's no saint. Show me a politician, Eva, that you can say nothing but glowing things about.
I mean, I don't have much nice things to say about any politician, so.
I get it, but that's my point, right? So here, listen, anyways, for whatever reason, right or wrong, maybe it's just the hair. I like the guy. And it could just be the hair, because that's something him and I have in common. Matt at Seidel's Barbershop in Medina.
Yep.
So the news of the week for me with Mr. Trump is the documents. So I don't know how much you know about it, but
I'm fairly aware. I avoid the news lately, but I am fairly aware.
He's facing 37 felony charges of sharing classified documents and talking about them openly with people that had no business discussing classified documents, and having documents at his house and other places. They're finding out that, and his desk, that were not supposed to be taken out of the classified areas, meaning the White House or whatever. So he's got 37 felony charges. Here's what I love about the guy. He don't give a hoot. I mean, he's acting like nothing's going on. I mean, the guy is so confident. How do you not believe in him? He's walking around right now like he's Jesus, walking on water. You know what I mean? And that, I don't know, I just admire the confidence, even if it's irrational, because I think I have a little of that myself when it comes to the one thing I'm good at, the car business. Okay, so anyways, so the news is he pleads not guilty. Okay, of course. And he's saying it's a hoax, right? That's a hoax and whatever. And then, what are you going to say? I get it. But I'm telling you right now, this guy's getting out of it.
I'm sure he will.
If somebody thinks Donald Trump is going to spend one day in jail, they are delusional.
I mean, he definitely knows how to, like you said, he knows how to get things done. So I don't disagree with you that he will probably get out of it.
There's no question. And so, I'm looking back on here right now because I don't want to mess it up. But he has 37 felony charges. He pleads not guilty, right? And the guy says, they said, hey, are you concerned about your own voice on the auto recording discussing these documents? It's clearly him. I mean, there's a lot of impersonations of Donald, but it's him.
Right.
And he's like, my voice was fine. They're like, I'm concerned that it was your voice on the recording. He goes, what do you mean? My voice was fine.
Jeez.
He's like, my voice was fine. What did I say wrong on the recordings? I didn't see the recording. All I know is I did nothing wrong. We had a lot of papers stacked up. This is him talking. In fact, you hear the rustle of the paper. Nobody said I did anything wrong other than the fake news, blah, blah, blah. The reason that I want, and we're not going to stay on this much longer, the reason that it's news to me is because, you know, he's a former president. Listen, he's going to be the president again.
You think so?
100. Yes.
I don't know.
Who'd you pick and set?
I don't know.
You even know their names?
You're
a pretty well-educated millennial.
Yeah, but I've been avoiding politics lately.
Okay. Do we absolutely have confidence in the fact that Joe Biden can even walk up the White House stairs? Is he going to be president again?
I don't know. I don't know if it'll be Trump, though. There's a lot of people running against him.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck. So that's why it's news, because we have a guy who's a former president, soon to be president again, who clearly has been, I'm going to say allegedly caught breaking federal law. Mm-hmm. And it's news to me that he's going to get around it and he's going to be president again and it's going to go away. Mm-hmm. And the reason it's news is because it tells us the state of the country that we're in.
That it does.
It really does. Mm-hmm. The things you can get away with now, and as long as you have a distraction in place, mm-hmm. or you promise something somewhat good in people's lives, they will forget about your wrongdoings. It all comes down to the fact, my whole point of this, even though I love Trump, is that it's amazing to where we've come, where you can get away with so much now, mm-hmm. And still be in a position of power.
Yeah.
And I think that's news. So it's the state of where we're at. I'm not very political, but I wanted to talk about that because I just think the world is such a changing place. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, I'm 50 years old. Back in the day, you did something wrong, you were held accountable. People didn't forget about it.
Right.
They're going to forget about this overnight. Because he's going to do something great. You know what I mean? It's going to
the next big news story is going to come along, and it's not going to be the most important thing anymore.
Yeah, where we're at as a country to me is amazing. To where people my age and my generation, how we grew up. Mm-hmm. So, anywho, that's the news that Donald Trump is indicted, 37 felony charges, and that he's going to get out of it, and he's going to be president.
Okay,
that's news to me.
It's news to me. News of the week.
And if I'm wrong, I'm not really ever wrong. But I mean, if it happens right now, I will make a podcast and a TikTok about how I was wrong, and
publicly,
I'll wear a dunce cap and stuff like that. So, anyways, that's it. That's my news. That's where it's at, and it's amazing to me in a sad way, but it's also exciting because I happen to like the guy, and I want to watch him whittle out of this thing and become president again, and hit on some beauty pageant.
Well,
people.
I mean, we'll definitely see that.
That's where I'm at. That's my news. You want to take a break? Or are we there yet? Where are we at? Hold on. This is a new... Dude, I'm out of my hell. I don't know what's going on.
I know. If you want, we could take a break, or we can...
Well, we had a... No, we had a question.
Yeah, well, because we didn't really touch on this very much in the first episode, but we should talk about a little bit of car stuff, I feel. So, one of the biggest questions that's been thrown at you lately is now a good time to buy a car?
So if I go through my TikTok feed and I go through my questions, my inbox, I bet one of every 4 is that question. People have come to rely on my opinion on that platform as being transparent, not all the way consumer centric, not all the way dealer centric, in the middle and transparent. That's where I like to live my life, in being transparent. Mm-hmm. And that's a question I get a lot. Is it time to buy a car now? And the reason people are asking, so it's basically to give you the background. I know, having the automotive industry background and being my friend,
right? And
one of the women that I'm terrified of is so you had chip shortage pricing. Mm-hmm. People were paying $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 over MSRP for a car. Mm-hmm. Right or wrong is a different topic. I'm not going to get on that. But
right.
I never charged over MSRP for one car.
But it is what mostly happened.
Right, that was happening. So people are like, is it time now? Is it safe to buy a car now? Dealers were putting on, all kinds of extras and stuff that people didn't want. Mm-hmm. And they were getting away with it. Now, again, I'm not going to defend the dealer here. I'm not going to attack the consumer. But let's be very clear about one thing. You're a grown adult.
Right.
If I come into your place of business, okay, let's talk about Angela at Recrea, right? We're in love with Angela right now. She's the best thing on the planet because I'm skinny.
Right.
So let's call it, and my testosterone's better. Let's talk about it. So I feel like $1 million. She's my favorite person. So anyways, but if I walked into Recrea and Angela said, well, normally this product would cost $79. Because there's a shortage, I'm going to charge you $179, and you're gonna like it. I would say no, right? Because I'm a grown adult, and I'm like, well, wait a second, it's $79. You know what I mean? I'm not. I'll just wait. I'll just wait until there is no more, shortage of whatever that product is, and I'll buy it for the $79.
But if you did want it right then, you also have the option to say, okay, I will pay that money.
Correct. So what happened is consumers, because they like to keep up with the Joneses, and they have to have what they have to have when they have to have it, we're like, okay, I need the new body Escalade, so I'm going to pay you $30,000 over MSRP because the Smiths down the street got one, and I can't have the old body.
Right.
I can't take my kids to soccer in the old body when they got the. That's not happening. You know what I'm saying? So people were paying over MSRP. Now, there were people that were buying out of necessity. My car broke down. I got to get my kids to school tomorrow, and I got to get to work.
But they also weren't buying the Escalades.
But you could have went and bought a cheap car off Marketplace. You could have went and, you know what I mean? You could have bought something that's not marked up that much. You could have went and bought a Ford, whatever, you know what I mean? A Chevy, you know what I mean?
A Malibu.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, whatever it was, it wasn't getting marked up over, Like, you could have done that. But other than that, most of the purchases were want purchases. They were paid over MSRP, and dealers were taking the money for it.
Right.
And so now people are saying, okay, is it safe? Can I go buy a car for a regular price now? Okay, so they're asking that. They're asking that and combined with trade values, right? Because that's always the thing, when trade values are low or whatever. And they're asking that also in combination with interest rates. So the answer is this. So is it time to buy a car now? My stance now, as of right now, is finally yes. And I was the one on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook getting yelled at by other car dealers because I was telling people, it's not time. Don't buy a car.
Right.
Wait. Do not buy a car right now unless you need it. And I'm getting dealers going, dude, what are you doing? You're screwing all of us. I thought you were, you know what I mean? No, dude. First of all, I'm not your brother. We happen to be in the same industry. But I built my career on telling people the truth. It's a bad time to buy a car. Don't buy a car right now. So people have come to trust me for that because I'm not, just trying to take your money because I'm a car dealer. And so, but the answer now is finally yes, because aside from the interest rates, the industry is gearing back towards the consumer now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People are now discounting cars again, dealers.
Yep.
Because the factory chip shortage is over. Inventories are building up again. Dealers have to discount cars, especially if you're in the previous model year.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like 24s are hitting. So 23s right now are becoming distressed merchandise for dealers. So they're discounting cars.
Yep.
That combined with the fact that manufacturers now are incentivizing rates because rates stink so bad.
Yeah.
I think the Fed's raising it another half point. It's going to be 6%. It's going to be prime.
Yeah, I saw that. I read something the other day that most places are averaging like 7.9.
Yeah, it's huge. Dude, I'm getting 800 credit scores that are getting 7% interest rates. When 2.5, 3 years ago, that was 2.9.
Right.
So now your manufacturers are coming out with incentive rates 0%, 1%, 2.9. So that combined with dealers now discounting cars is equaling a more favorable time to buy a car than it was just 2 months ago.
Right.
The other reason that it starts to make sense right now is because trade values are still high. So like as a dealer, if I go to the auction, for instance, we're still paying a little bit too much for cars at the auction for good used cars.
Right.
Which means that if you come trade your car as a consumer, I'm going to give you a little bit more than it's probably worth. So trade values are up still. Prices on new are down a little. Manufacturers are incentivizing rates.
So it's like the perfect soup of go buy a car.
It's never going to be what it was pre-COVID.
Right.
When you walked in and some dealer you got on his hands and knees and begged you to buy a car.
Right.
And the bank begged you to take a loan.
Right.
And, it's never going back to that. There's a middle ground somewhere. But now that manufacturers know that people will buy, even if it's MSRP, I mean, forget it. I mean, I'm still hearing about deals right now, people getting, a little over invoiced and stuff like that. And dealers are competitive and dealers are whores.
Yeah.
So once this dealer starts discounting cars to invoice, this guy's going to do it to match because he has no choice because he can't just sit on his inventory.
Exactly, because he's not going to get the business if he doesn't adjust.
Yeah, correct. So it is definitely becoming a time now where you can buy a car and not feel like you are absolutely getting gouged. So I think that's a great thing for consumers. Yeah, that's definitely a good thing. Yeah, but I'm getting that question a lot,
Yep.
And a lot of people you're starting to see people, trickle into showrooms more. But I will tell you what's different this time around, and then we don't have to stay on this too long, but is the days of people walking into a showroom and going through the treacherous process of buying a car in person is about over. It is so much now about buying a car online, negotiating online, right? Getting your own financing or through the dealer online, getting a trade value from CarMax or Carvana or, Goat buys cars, I buy cars, or whatever, and transacting digitally and e-signing, right? Which we've been doing this for years, but it's not. It's so prevalent now.
It's like almost the standard.
It really is. And it's good. It should be, dude. It should be. Nobody should ever go into a car dealership and be there for 4 hours.
Right.
To buy a car. I mean, that's like offensive. It should be quick. And if you do it digitally, you avoid the back room, the dark finance guy in the back, who's trying to push all this crap on you. You know what I mean? But again, some of those products have merit. I don't care what people say. Gap insurance is a lifesaver for people that have an accident. But so the digital, remote purchase process is definitely one. I mean, it's the only way to do it. It's the only way I want to sell a car anymore. Right. I don't want to meet people.
Right. And if I do people. 20 minutes, we're done. Cool. See you later.
Yeah, I can be fake nice to you for 7.2 minutes and act like that I like you as a person. But the reality is, you know what I mean? And yeah, I'm exaggerating a little bit. I like some people. But the reality is I'm not there to make friends.
Well, right, and 95% of those people you'll never see again. So what does it really matter?
Yeah, we don't have to act like we're buds, while you buy this car. Just do it online. You know what I mean? Just go home and do it online. I don't have to meet you. You don't have to meet me. And you don't have to meet the big guy in the back trying to sell you all the crap.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's cool that the car business is evolving, finally. The car business, I always tell everybody, is about a decade behind other businesses.
Yeah. Yeah, you've said that since I met you.
It is. It's a decade behind as far as progressive ways to do business. So excited about meeting less people, but excited for consumers that, yes, it is time to buy a car. So all you car dealers out there who like to roast me, yay for you. I'm officially endorsing it's time to buy a car. Cool?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that's a good note to head to a break.
I love a break.
All right, well then we'll be right back.
Gang, gang, bitch.
Welcome to Recrea Now, a health and wellness podcast for all of your health and therapy needs. Recrea Now is a health and wellness podcast dedicated to health, wellness, and preventative care so you can be better now. Hosted weekly by Angela, Recrea Now brings you content related to services at Recrea Health and Wellness, as well as motivation and different ways to advocate for yourself so that you can feel better now and prevent health issues later. Recrea Now is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and more. For information, check the link in the show notes.
So want to thank a company that is near and dear to my heart.
Who's that?
EVAlutionary Productions.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so familiar. I wonder where I've heard that before.
Guys, let me tell you about EVAlutionary Productions. So it's run by a gal named Eva B in the industry. And so she is a technical, artistic whiz with a great work ethic and exquisite artistic ideas when it comes to any and all things digital production. If you are looking for somebody to help you remote, or you could be local, Eva has started a company called EVAlutionary Productions, and it is taking off. So you can be one of the beggars. You can add your name to the list. But if you come from this podcast and you say it, I bet you get moved to the top.
I think that's pretty accurate.
I think that's true.
EVAlutionary Productions, helping you create evolutionary content.
We're done with our break. We're done breaking.
Yeah, we are done breaking. Definitely big shout out to Recrea Health and their new podcast, Recrea Now. Recrea is run by Angela, who Shawn has mentioned a couple of times today, but they're a really great business. They have a very interesting educational podcast, so definitely check them out.
Yeah, for sure. Good stuff on there. And she's got a great personality too, so you'll get a laugh out of it too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
So what do you want to talk about this week, Shawn?
So something that's been on my mind is, and I'll tell you why, because one of the dealerships that I'm affiliated with now is one of the opportunities for growth with them is leadership, out of leadership positions, like managers or whatever.
Yep.
And so I thought it'd be good if we talk a little bit about at least my visions and beliefs on leadership. It's something that gets unbelievably overlooked by companies and people in upper management and even ownership.
Even mid-level management, I feel.
100%. Correct. Yes, I agree with that. That it's mid-level as far as, but those people I almost can forgive, and I'll tell you why that they're somewhat exempt. Because middle management is normal. Let's talk about the car business. Middle management, let's call it a sales manager,
Okay.
is usually promoted from a sales position.
Right.
They're a salesperson. Their job is to handle their individual business every single day. I have to make this follow-up to my customers.
Yeah.
I have this delivery coming in. I have this, or I have this referral, whatever, referral, calls to make. So they're literally in charge of them. And then they perform at a high level, and someone in upper management says, we're going to promote you into, let's call it middle management, right? So now all of a sudden you have this person who was successfully responsible for just them, right? But now they're responsible for others. Other sales, either the salespeople, if they're a sales manager. Now they're responsible for, 5 to 20 salespeople, okay? And now all of a sudden, this person who was successful at managing just them now magically has to know how to manage, motivate, discipline, if necessary, train, and coach all these other people.
Without any training themselves.
They get correct. So they get promoted. That's right. So they get promoted in this position. And so the upper management person or the owner of the business says, you're a manager now. Go get him, kid. And that guy's like, I'm a manager. Okay. So what's he start doing? So he starts telling all these other people how to do their job in the way that he did it, right?
Right.
That worked for him. And then when they either A, aren't capable or don't understand how to do it in the way that he thinks it should be done, they are now bad employees. Or it just doesn't mesh, right? He can't be a good manager of that person because he's like, well, this is how I did it. This is how you should do it. And they're like, well, I don't know. I've been paying my bills and feeding my family the way I do it. And you were just like me yesterday. You were in the same position. So now what? I'm supposed to listen to you and you're supposed to tell me. So that guy now has to not only learn how to motivate and manage all these other people, but he's got to learn how to navigate the idea of overcoming being promoted, right? And the possible resentment from the other salespeople who thought they should be the manager. Or, the possible resentment of, dude, you were just my, smoking cigarettes with you yesterday. Now you're my boss, and then that's a problem. So they get promoted to these leadership positions without any idea of how to be a leader.
Right.
Well, or how to be a manager, let alone a leader. And those are two different things. I don't like to say manager. I say leader. And so that guy, let's say, so he gets promoted. And so now he's responsible. And the chances of him succeeding, I'm going to say, are 50%. And it's not his fault. So that's why I'm saying they're exempt. Middle management is exempt because it's upper management's fault for not taking that person into middle management and showing him how to manage. They just say, you're the manager now. You did really well as a salesperson. You're a manager. And they don't tell them how to be a manager. So that guy's exempt. It's not his fault. It's upper management's fault for not
providing all of the skills necessary.
Correct. Now, you're an upper manager.
Right.
So clearly somebody showed you the skills.
Right, because you were there at one point.
Right? So that's why middle management, in my estimation, is exempt from this conversation.
Okay.
I'm talking about upper management. I'm talking about, ownership. I'm talking about the true leaders, right, in the business. And yes, it's that middle manager's job on his own, if he's an adult, to be personally responsible to learn himself.
Right.
But he should be able to rely on...
There should be some guidance to get there, though.
Yeah, right.
Like, where do I start to figure it out?
Right. And there's schools you can send people to, how to be a manager. There's courses you can take. And there's all this stuff, so there's really no excuse. So, but anyways, so leadership to me, I know in the car business for sure, but I think it's in most businesses, is just completely overlooked. And it's a shame because, you and I both know, and I think you maybe have had some experience like this. People don't leave companies, people leave managers.
1,000%.
Am I right?
The only time I've ever left, aside from medical reasons, the only time I've ever left a job is because management was bad.
If we call 3 of your friends right now and you say, why'd you leave your last job? I'm telling you, for sure 2, but more than likely 3 are going to say, me and my manager butted heads.
Yep.
Or my manager wanted me to do this. Or my manager, it's
my
very,
boss was toxic.
It's never, it's very rarely my owner. It's
Right.
very rarely because the company, I guess there's cases, but for the most part, it's my manager. You know what I'm saying? So if you're an owner or an upper management or something like that, you're responsible for the health of the company. You have an obligation to make sure that the people in leadership positions are not the reason that your people leave, because,
Right.
Again, there's your most important asset in a business is your people. So if they're leaving, you know what I'm saying? It's costing your business money, period, end of story. And if they're leaving because of a manager, that's your fault for not showing him the right leadership skills to be a reason that they stay.
Right.
Not leave. You know what I'm saying? So, so in the car business, for instance, again, but I'm pretty sure it's any business, leadership is about, let me give you my theory on how to lead. And I'm going to just equate it to the car business because, again, that's pretty much all I personally know. So when I took over, when I came in and I came back to the dealership that I was a partner with my cousin, I remember I came back and it was a shit show. It was like a county jail. People are walking around, swearing at each other. The culture was just an absolute train wreck. There was no leadership. Everybody was out to kill each other, and no regard whatsoever for your coworkers. It was just.
That's very, because I had just started working there like 3
You were
months
there.
before you came, and that's exactly how it was. It was so dog eat dog, and nobody talking. It was just barking at each other, and it was a lot.
Do you remember? You were
Yeah,
there.
I was there.
And forget what that equals as far as a consumer experience. You know what I mean? How that trickles down. But, just for the employees, I looked around and I was sad because I was like, look at all these people who are trying to feed their families in this toxic atmosphere. Not only is it not the most profitable atmosphere for them and their talents, it's terrible for their mental well-being. And it's terrible for the health of this company because none of these people are staying. Unless
Right.
this gets fixed. At
Right.
some point, they're all leaving,
Yep.
right? So my first thing was, I'm going to say very little, and I'm going to show people by example what it looks like to be a professional. So I remember I go in immediately. I'm doing things like picking up trash when I'm outside, on a cigarette break or whatever. Or I'm closing deals. I'm not asking anybody to do it. I'm going over and talking to a customer. I'm grabbing plate brackets and putting them on cars for people. I'm going out to the used car lot and getting a car and pulling it up for the customer. I'm doing it by example. I'm showing them nobody in here is outworking me, first of all. None of y'all are going to outwork me. That's the first thing y'all need to know. Second of all, you need to know I'm not above any menial part of this whole process. I'll do this. I don't care. What I care about is the end result. So
does it need to get done? Okay, then let's do it.
Right, exactly. And just doing it by example and just doing it. And when you do that, you're leading by example. People start looking and going, okay, I mean, the guy in charge is out there sweeping up the outside because there's a bunch of cigarette butts out there.
Right, he's got brooms and he's pushing all the snow off the car.
100%. Right. So, and you do that and you do it silently and you don't do it for attention. You don't talk about it. You just do it because that's when it sticks and it gets noticed. And, people start talking, go, dude, you see the new GM, the general manager out there, brushing snow off cars or whatever. So
maybe we should all grab one and go help.
Right. Or yeah, right. Exactly. So, but the reason that you do that, you have to show people, in my opinion, you're willing to do whatever it takes to win. And then you have to let them see that you're not doing it for just the company. You're doing it for them. That you care about their success. And that's why you're doing all this stuff. And once you can make an employee truly believe that, they will run through brick walls for you until you die. I have people right now that work for me that if I called them and said, on a personal level, I need you to help me with this, they'd be there in a heartbeat. We don't work together anymore. If I called and said, I need you to quit where you're at right now, you're coming back and work for me, they would quit right now and they would go do it because they believe, not because I'm great, but they believe that guy's got me. That guy does it because he cares about me and my kids and my family and my success and my pride and my life. And when you exhibit that type of leadership and it's not fake, it's genuine, you can lead people through fires. You can lead a group of people through walls. You can accomplish anything. And we got to that point at the dealership that you and I were at. There was a point in time we got to that where
it was really great. Like I've told everybody to this day, and I don't even work there anymore, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's the best job I ever had, and I stayed because I was loyal to the people who worked there.
Right, and you
because
believe...
the number one question that I get asked right now is, well, why did you start a business? Why didn't you go to another car dealership?
Right.
Because I wasn't loyal to the business.
Right.
I was loyal to the people I worked with.
We were loyal to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I, we had a common goal, which was to make money together. Got it. That's why we all get up in the morning. But it wasn't just about money. It was about us working as a team and accomplishing and winning and making customers happy. And you know what I mean? And being a cohesive unit. And not only did I earn that from you guys, but then you guys all earned it from me. Like, I saw people like you, okay? Or like Mike D, we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Going the extra mile for no extra pay.
Right, just because it was the correct thing to do.
It just felt like this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what the team needs right now. And there is so little of that leadership style today. And again, I'm going to talk about the car business, but I think it's in every business. So many people get promoted now and they get a new business card and they get a title. And boy, how quick they forget.
Yeah.
Where they came from.
Yeah.
I'm the manager now. I get to sit here and tell you what to do and how you're not doing it right and how I was great at it. And
totally not be accountable for any of the work done.
Correct.
I feel that's how a lot of managers are nowadays.
It's so sad, and so, and I know that it's every business because I meet people in other industries and it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? My manager won't go on a sales call with me, or my manager, didn't do this, or he won't, whatever it is. So people get promoted to manager, and boy, does it go to their head. All of a sudden, They are on a perch up here, and all you peons down here better listen. You better listen, because I can fire you and change your life right now, potentially, if you're in that position where you can hire and fire people. But at the very least, I have the owner's ear now, or upper management's ear now. And if I tell them that you're worthless, you're worthless. So I have this over you now. So now I'm I hope this isn't the case a lot, but not only am I going to use it to manipulate you and make myself feel better, but I could do it to ruin you. I could do it to make, you know what I'm saying? I can affect your life in a very bad way, your reputation. I can cost you money, and unless you bow down to me and just worship me because now my card says manager on it.
Right. You're 100% right.
It's so sad. It's so sad. I listen to a lot of leadership podcasts, and one guy that I listen to a lot is Simon Sinek, and he is amazing. And his core belief is servant leadership, which, for those of you that don't know, servant leadership is like what I talked about in the beginning. And this is what I train managers now. We work for them, guys. I used to tell, again, we'll talk about Mike D. Mike, they don't work for us. We work for them. Right. The salespeople.
Any real manager should have that mentality, because your job is literally to help the people that you work for.
Correct. It's, again, I hate the word manager, because I mean manage, like I manage you guys. I just think it's a incorrect description of what you're really supposed to do. Right. It should be supporter.
I was just trying to think
sales
that's
supporter.
Exactly, yes.
Or something like that. What's another word for that?
Like, I don't know. Supporter was
like
what popped in my head.
Curator or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like supporter. Like
I'm not managing your tasks. I'm supporting you in completing your goals. Is
exactly
what I'm doing.
Now I will give you direction on what worked for me, and you can take it or you can leave it. I can also give you mandates that ownership wants to see done, certain parts of it. Right. But it's not.
But I can also help you do those things.
Exactly. I'm gonna show you how to get those things done correctly and most profitably. And by the way, if you aren't capable of doing them well, I'm either going to train you or I'm not going to make you do them. I'm going to find someone else to do them for you so you can concentrate on doing what you do great naturally. But I know, like working with you, for instance, I remember, when you took over as the BDC manager, I was like, she's never been a BDC manager, really. You know what I'm saying? How can I support her? How can I help her accomplish the job that she's now getting paid to do and responsible for, and encouraging you, Eva, tell me what you need help with. Not, because I want to see you succeed. And by the way, from a selfish standpoint, if everybody if everybody that I'm responsible for succeeds, guess what happens?
I succeed.
Hi. Hello.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I just don't think people see it that way. They look at it more like I'm successful because
I'm the best one.
If I make you feel less successful, that's somehow being successful. Telling you how bad you are at this or that or what you need to work on. I'm not going to spend any time working on it with you. I'm just going to tell you how bad you are at it. And so it's a sad state of the employment industry right now that those people are in charge of other people and the business has very little chance of succeeding. And all those employees out there are being, it's heavy to say the word, they're not abused, but they're being undervalued and they're not being given the respect that they deserve by showing them how to get better, showing them that you'll put the effort in to make them better, and showing them that you'll do whatever it takes to make them successful. So then they believe in you, and together you can accomplish just massive things. So I don't know. The leadership thing to me is a very sensitive topic. I don't want to be around anybody who is a manager.
Yeah.
I want to be around leaders. I want, and me, I crave leadership. I want someone to lead me and show me how to be great and go where I want to go. You know what I mean? And I think everybody wants that.
Right.
Right?
Like in some degree of some way, like everybody wants just some type of guidance. Because
Right.
it just makes you feel a little better. It makes you feel like you're doing the thing correctly.
Right.
Whatever the thing is.
And the other part too, Eva, is is the communication is so shoddy. There's no transparency. There's no, here, I know that a person like you, for instance, and I know a lot of people that feel this way, just tell me where I'm at. Just tell me truthfully where I stand.
Just tell me, like, don't beat around the bush. I'm asking you this question because I want you to tell me the answer to what I am asking.
Yeah, just tell me where I suck.
Right.
Tell me what I'm good at.
Right.
Tell me I'm doing a good job, and tell me what I'm not.
Right.
And tell me honestly, because then I can make the adjustments that I need to make. You know,
Right.
then I can look at myself. But if you just don't talk to me, or, you know, tell me all the time, you know, that I'm doing a good job. Yeah, you're doing fine. No, you're not doing me any favors.
Right, because now I'm panicking. Now I don't know what's going on in your head.
Right.
I don't know what your real opinion is, so I start harping and focusing on all these things that really don't matter.
Right.
Which makes my overall performance suffer.
And people get in their heads, right?
Yes.
Like if you don't know where I stand as your boss, whatever you want to call it, if you don't know where I stand, you're in your head imagining where you stand.
And it's probably 10 times worse than what it is. So had
Always.
you just told me from the beginning, I'd have felt bad for like 5 seconds, and then I'll be like, okay, this is what I have to do. Great. 2 days later, everything's fine.
Right,
Because
but
I've fixed the problem.
Dude, you and that's what most people will do. They will react in a positive manner. They will say, "Holy cow, thank you for telling me that." Everybody wants to improve and be better.
Right.
So they're going to say, "How can I get better at that?" Then okay, I need to work on that. You know, we just had a conversation before we started recording, a very candid conversation where I was like, "Eva, I think this is a hole in your business that you're starting, Evolutionary Productions, which I think is going to be great. Eva, I think you need to learn this and dedicate this. I don't think you know it well enough right now."
And I said, you're right.
And because I hope and pray, I believe I have earned your trust with our past experiences together in business, you took it like a champ.
Right.
You're right. You're right. Thank you for telling me that.
Right.
I didn't think of that, or I kind of knew that, but whatever.
I wasn't thinking about it in that way, but you're right. I
did.
wasn't beat up. I wasn't crying and throwing a fit.
Right. And I'm
you
so
said the
sensitive to
thing.
your feelings because you're like my little sister. I was like, "You okay? I didn't upset you?" You're like, "No, dude." You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
like, "Okay, great." But same thing, like it's like in a marriage. You know, if you don't know what your spouse is feeling, dude, you are destined for a debacle.
Oh, 100%.
Because you're going to wonder where they're at. And then guess what happens? Now they're wondering where you're at.
Because you're acting weird.
You're
because
acting
you're
weird.
trying to figure out what's going on with them. Instead, if you just walked up to them and said, hey, what's going on? And you said the thing that was going on.
Right.
All of it would be resolved in like 30 minutes. And then you probably end up helping each other.
Hey, you don't last long enough in bed. Okay, great. Thanks for telling me. I'm going to go work on it. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't tell me that, you know what I'm saying? You're going to be unhappy. And I'm going to think everything's cool.
Right.
Hey, I knocked that out. You know what I
that's
mean?
where
And
the
you're
little
like,
wedge comes
you're in your
in
group
and-
chat with your girls like, Jesus, I'm all right. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But if you just tell me, hey, I ain't satisfied. Okay, thank you for telling me. You know what I mean? Now I can go figure it out, So it's the same thing in a work relationship. So leadership is all about transparency and leading by example. That's my opinion. I think that we need more of it in the car business. I know we need more of it in general, in business. And I just think it's an important topic. And if you're a leader out there, try it. Try leading by example tomorrow when you go to work. Instead of sitting at your desk and looking down on people and telling them what they're not doing, go show them that you know how to do what you're expecting them to do and that you're willing to do it. And that it's not belittling for them to do it because you're willing as well. And they will start following because you're a leader. They will follow if you lead.
And I think a important, related note to that is being that way, it's also going to make the people that you work with not afraid to approach you.
For sure.
So then there's less reasons for you to have to approach people about something because they already know in advance. So they're just going to come ask you like, hey, I'm struggling with this. How do I fix it? Instead of having to sit down in a meeting,
Right.
Hey, you're not doing this. Like, no, they're already approaching you because they're not afraid to approach you.
Right. Dude, it's common sense. It just seems like it is common sense, but, I guess a lot of people just don't get it. And that's a great point because I love when people come up to me and say, hey, how do I do this or better? Or am I doing this right? Because now I know my business has a chance of functioning correctly because I have the people who are in charge of managing all those processes, making sure they're doing it right, and they feel comfortable enough to come ask me because I may be able to tell them something because I'm the experienced guy that makes them better. So now that part of my business is being run the way I want it to and better. They're going home confident because they know they're doing it the way it should be done. I mean, it's just a trickle-down effect. So
Because now as they go home feeling confident and feeling more secure in what they're doing, maybe they come up with a new idea and they're not afraid to come up to you and say, hey, I had this idea, and then you can talk about it, and who knows, it could be a great successful thing.
And I was about to end this, but you just touched on something that's near and dear to my heart, my thought process in business. And I tell people this all the time, business partners I've had or managers, whatever. It's amazing what you find out about people when you empower them. People will surprise the shit out of you. Somebody that you may have had a low opinion on or you're not impressed by or hasn't really shown you anything. And then they come up and they say something to you, like, hey, I had an idea or whatever, and you listen to them and you dig deeper with that person. People will surprise the shit out of you how valuable they can be. You just had to open them up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, they hit you with something. You're like, I didn't know you had that in you. Thank God that you feel comfortable enough to come talk to me because now I know you might be a superstar. But I was about to fire you because I just didn't know. But when you're transparent like that, you find out about people like, okay, so, and then we'll end it on this. You and I were working together. You were my BDC manager. I was a general manager, partner, whatever you want to call it. And we're sitting up at the sales tower one day and we're talking BDC stuff. You know what I mean? Like we're supposed to do. We might have been goofing off. I mean,
a little bit.
There's a good chance I was making fart noises and rapping and you were cracking up and TikToking. Okay. So I remember like it was yesterday. So we're up there working. But because you and I had developed a transparent relationship, and I think I had earned it with you, and you had earned it back with me that I thought you were a valuable asset who cared. We're sitting up there talking one day, and I said out loud to somebody, all my followers on TikTok think I should have a podcast. And I'm sitting up there, and you like turned your head or something. I don't remember how I said it, but I was like, Eva, you know anything about podcasts? You're like, I manage 5 podcasts right now. And I'm like, that just happened. I'm like, we're doing a podcast. But had you and I not had that transparent relationship, or, you know what I'm saying? I knew you had a techie and an artsy side to you. I knew you were doing stuff like that, like with plays and stuff like that. So it didn't surprise me totally. But we had never talked about a podcast before. Ever once.
Nope.
And I'm sitting up there and it comes up and I kind of wanted to do it because people were telling me I should do it. And you're like, yeah, that's what I do. And I'm like, shut the front door when you're talking to me. And the end result is here we are.
We literally from first mention to first recording date, it was like 3.5 weeks later, and we were launching the first episode.
And again, I think that it stemmed from us both having a leadership mentality where we're open and transparent with people, including each other, and getting to know each other on a level that we trusted each other, and that literally I could trusted you enough without knowing that you had the experience to say, Eva, do you know anything about podcasts by chance? You know what I mean? Like, and you being like, yeah, that's kind of what I do. And I'm like, okay, this is meant to be. But I would have never known that had you and I not developed somewhat of at that point, a personal relationship as well, but definitely a healthy professional relationship. The conversation would have never happened.
Nope.
I would have never brought it up to you. Wouldn't have happened. So, there's a real life example. But again, to end it, listen, if you're in charge of people tomorrow, whether you're an owner, an upper manager, middle manager, I don't care what you are. If you're if you're responsible for people tomorrow, make it a point to lead by example in a servant leadership type attitude with your actions, and let people see that you genuinely care about their success, not just your success. And I'm telling you, you can move mountains. And I hope this message gets to one person, and it will change their management style tomorrow, and it's going to change lives.
Yep.
That's what I hope.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm all done with that.
All right. Well, I think that's a good episode.
Yeah, good. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
So I love our new surroundings.
I do too. I think it's gonna work great.
I think it's cool, right?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I wish it was a little more manly, but I'm in touch with my feminine side.
That's good.
I touch my feminine side all the time.
That means you're a well-rounded person, Shawn.
I'm less well-rounded.
That's a good point.
I'm not as fat. You know what I mean? So, but no, it's cool. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Thanks to Recrea and Angela and everything. It's and I'm excited about this. I'm excited about this season. It's going to be good, and hopefully our listeners will appreciate that we're trying to touch on some more general topics. But I am a car pig by nature. If you have car questions, you know how to get a hold of me. But don't ask me about anything else really, because that's all I'm good at. That's it.
All right. Well, I think we'll do it again next week, Shawn P.
Holla at your boy.
Holla.
Hey, Goat Army. Thank you so much for listening. We really, really appreciate all the support.
And we would like to thank our sponsor for this week's episode. Your support means a ton.
Now, you can find me across all social media at goatforreal216. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. For additional info, you can check out my bio page, www.goatforreal216.info. Now, when you go to those socials, please do me a quick favor. Make sure you hit the like, follow, and subscribe buttons.
And you can find me across all social media at Evolutionary Productions, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. For additional info, you can check out www.evolutionaryproductions.com or www.evabrettrager.com. And just like Shawn P said, please make sure to like, follow, and subscribe.
Yeah, leave us ratings, reviews on your preferred streaming platforms. And listen, guys, please be honest. This podcast is not going to be effective if we don't reach the right audience and you don't tell us what it is you want from our content. Be honest, please.
And subscribe there as well. Additionally, for exclusive content, be sure to join us on Patreon, which gives you access to our secret Discord.
We love secrets.
Yes, we do.
Holler.
Holla.
The Goat for Real 216 podcast is produced by Goat for Real 216 and Evolutionary Productions. Copyright 2023, all rights reserved. No part of this podcast can be reused or reproduced without written express consent from all parties. For information, please contact Evolutionary Productions directly at evolutionaryproductions@gmail.com. Holla!